Welcome, Wargamers. Join your hosts, Bonko and Monte, two Canadian wargaming enthusiasts, as we explore all aspects of tabletop wargaming. We roll dice, talk tactics, share hobby hacks, and explore new tabletop systems, all on the Trident Wargaming Podcast. Alrighty, welcome back. This is another Horus Heresy episode. We're joined with our special friends once again, Alex and Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Heresy Friends.
So, gentlemen, what has been new on the hobby front?
Well, I dragged out all of my Emperor's Children and have fully committed.
Ooh.
We're going all in. It's purple.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
Well, I don't know. We started that 40K league thing, so that's basically what I've just been doing.
It's true. It is true. It is true. I have done lots of hobby stuff recently, but not Heresy related. I did play a 5K game with Norman, and that was good. I gave him flashbacks of Esteban 5, so it was pretty sweet.
You gotta beat him up before the second dead rules come out here, and he starts kicking ass.
Just had to get that last win in, eh?
That's right.
Yeah, just the boots
That's
to
right.
Norman. Poor Norman.
He didn't go down easy. He went down swinging the whole time, so that was all right. And then like Dan mentioned, we started a learn to play 40K slow go escalation kind of type little series. There's 10 of us now, and basically jump up from 500 points to 1,000 all the way up to 2K every 2 months, trying to get that hashtag fully painted. And then I suspect once Heresy drops as well, we'll probably start doing the same thing, which should be a lot of fun.
I don't think it's a probably. I think it's a we will be.
Well, yeah. Yes.
So especially with all the new rules and stuff for Legions coming out, whatever. I'm sure there'll be tons of people jumping on their current armies and probably starting a lot of new armies. So
yeah,
I mean, hobby front for myself, just a mixture of everything. Still, doing my bolt action stuff and working on some crons and some BattleTech, and just trying to get stuff together and slowly painted.
Nice.
Back into the routine. So yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I guess let's jump into it all the way. Is Horus Heresy 2.0 the new 9th edition? Because I think it is. Judging from a lot of these leaks, this is like the Horus Heresy Phase 3 is what we're kind of talking about specifically, and there's a lot of things that echo 9th edition in terms of change, but I feel the change has been done in a positive way. I think for a lot of increased gameplay, fun factor. So what do you guys think? These are serious allegations going down, so do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I know Bill's gonna get some heat for this one.
Oh, I'm sure it is. So
Andy, go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, there's so much of it, so much just overall with the rules and just looking at some of these legions and whatnot. Still some similarities from what we were used to, but there's a lot of little things that have changed, right? And just looking, just as an example for my Ultramarines, I was looking at the army and I'm like, it's gonna change my whole army. Some of the rules are similar. The strength of wisdom is very similar to one of the Ultramarine rules, where they get to shoot at a unit that's already been shot at by another Ultramarine unit, and they get a bonus. But the bonus has changed, so it's pretty much you're getting a +1 to hit instead of to re-rolling the 1s to wound right? So the interlocking tactics. And then like even just the Primarchs, if you start looking at the Primarchs, a lot of their skills have changed. A lot of tactics you would use, I guess, with your Primarchs, it's going to completely change the overall effect of the army and whatnot. Like I can't make my extra units scoring. Like I can't make my javelins scoring anymore. That's changed.
But you can
So-
still pick units and give them abilities, can you not? With Guilliman?
You can, but the abilities they're not the same, right? You're
Yeah.
getting fleet, counterattack, furious charge, or stubborn. Compared to, I think one of them was interceptor. You make one of them, you can make a unit of that same kind of type, scoring, and then the other one I can't remember because I probably didn't even use it that much. But yeah, no, it's a little different. But then you have weapons and stats and stuff like that. That's pretty much the same. And then even looking at some of the generic units, right? Like my White Scars, looking at jet bikes and whatnot, they've taken a little bit of a hit. Do we know the full effect of what some of these rules do? I mean, I haven't really gone too deep into researching them, but going to like a lower toughness and having an extra wound now, and their armor save got worse. Comparing it to the previous edition, you're kind of like, ooh, okay, well, armor 3 now, not 2 anymore, and toughness 4, not 5. Ew, get
So,
knocked
like,
out quick.
Super Andy, Ultramarine Andy hot take. He said it changed your army. For the better, for the worse, or kind of neutral?
I think I'm going to say kind of neutral. Like I was vehicle heavy with my tanks and whatnot, plus relied a bit on like really delaying reinforcements or anything outflanking or anything in reserves. I was able to screw around with the opponent with that, right? A lot of that stuff's gone, right? So I think what's gonna happen is you're gonna see a lot more Marines supporting each other in my army. Still gonna take vehicles and whatnot, but to get the bonus from the Ultramarines rule is pretty much going to be on Marines, right? So you got your you're going to have your tactical Marines, and you're going to have your support squads and heavy support squads, stuff like that, to get the bonuses to hit. As your probably going to be your tactical Marines are going to be like super close in there, getting in dirty, but getting a bonus from like a heavy support squad that's attacking the same unit that troop squad is attacking, to hit better, right? So
Okay, so you guys heard it here first. Infantry meta is real. Tanks are dead at 9th edition. Not 9th edition. Horus Edition 2.0. And just sell your tanks, buy infantry, buy.
I'm almost inclined to honestly agree. I swear, man, it's gonna be Marine on Marine action. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, if you read like the rules, like all the leaked rules, they're very. What they did is they increased the prices of a lot of tanks, and then they dumbed down some of the weapons, and then they made some infantry cheaper or better.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what made them like make and I think that's what it's supposed to be, because the heresy was 10,000
Legions.
Space Marines or 100,000 Space Marines in a legion, right? And then you go to a tournament and there's literally a guy with the 2 10-man tactical squads, and it's like, oh,
hey,
Yeah.
that's fluffy,
Yeah, you
right?
mid max or
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. So I think that you could really tell that they're trying to push people towards
60
going
Space Marines.
going to having a full thing of Space Marines, and in a way that it's not taxing like some legios were, like Blood Angels and Raven Guard, where it was like, oh, you have to have more Marines than vehicles. So now it's like, oh, we'll just make Marines better, and make vehicles more expensive.
Oh, for sure. And I think like maybe with these reactions that you're able to do, like
Strats, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Stratagems.
well, so Legion of Astartes, whatever in brackets, right? There's different types of reactions that you can use and whatnot, and I'm sure that mainly is probably going to affect more infantry than anything, right? I'm sure there'll be stuff that works for vehicles and whatnot, but if you have a mass amount of Marines of different types on the board, you're probably going to see a lot of that stuff popping off. So
Waiting for that core word introduction.
yeah, well, yeah. So it's funny because like I'm looking at the Ultramarines one right now, and there's advanced reaction, right? And it's for the Ultramarines, but then it goes on to say, unlike core reactions, advanced reactions are activated in unique and specific circumstances. So now you have a couple different types of reactions that can happen. So
what they did is there's core reactions, so it's like Overwatch or charging or whatever it is, and then I think what they did is they dumbed down each Legio rules or Legion rules, and then what they did is, and then they just Titanicus, yeah. So what they did is they end up spreading it out so that there's a passive ability and then there's a reactive ability.
Yeah.
Which works with your legion. So I think from the transcript I was reading for World Eaters, the one was like, if you use this during a charge phase, you get bonus movement to your charge and stuff like that. So, and then I think I off the top of my head I can't remember a bunch, but there's specific one. Oh, the Raven Guard one. It was like, oh, if you use this, you can move, and then you get this shrouded ability, and so it was just like stuff that's works with your legion.
So but there's I thought there was some that like reaction specific to maybe certain units. I thought there was one for the World Eaters where they could react by like countercharging a unit that has shot them.
That's what it was. Sorry, yes, that's right? The one. Yeah.
So the Emperor's Children is that, or sorry, if they get charged, that's what it is. If they get charged, you can declare a reaction as an EC specific reaction that allows you to counter charge, and it cancels their charge, and you get to charge them.
So I think that's the advanced reaction. That's right. That's probably what they're talking about, right? So
yeah, it's the EC advanced reaction.
Yeah, which is cool. That's neat because that gives like each legion, some special things that is unique to them. You know what I mean?
Let's carve out reactions and talk about reactions specifically, because there's reactions that basically your actions occur in the enemy's phase, right? Reactions are a way for you to engage with your opponent while they're moving through the steps of the phases.
Yeah,
is what it's touted as, right? And so like it allows you kind of a constant. So you're not a passive player in the enemy's turn, effectively. What are your thoughts?
Well, more interaction between the players for sure to make a more interesting game.
I think there's going to be some strategy involved with them.
100% there will be.
I don't know. I think what they did is they made an already complex game, and then all they did was just add more rules on top. And for sure, it'll make for better gameplay or more strategy. Or ninth. If you look at ninth can be as simple as it is. You don't play with stratagems. You just play with the raw from the book. You have a fun time. Or you go into the in-depth and actually use strats, or in the case of like Heresy, use these reactions, and then the game gets way more complex. So, I mean, it's good and it's bad, because I could see weak players being like, oh, I didn't know that you could withdraw, so my charge that I was going to do, it fucked me, right? Because you just moved back 6 inches.
But you just have to
Get
teach them.
good, son.
Yeah, I
You'll have
know.
to get learned.
I know, but I mean, like, you're gonna get those moments where the guy's like, "Ah, this is my victory," and then it's just like, "Well, I'm
Those
smarter
flavor
than
moments.
you, so I'm gonna outplay you," right? So,
We call that the Istvan strat.
so
Oh
Mhm.
shit!
it's just,
Awesome.
and you know, I get it. It adds that extra layer, but I also think it adds a complication to it too.
It's going to happen regardless of what. I know it's going to happen to me for sure because it's going to come up. I'm like, I didn't know you could freaking do that, right? It's going to happen
Yeah.
for sure. But you know, our community is pretty good at helping each other out and talking about it, and you know, hashing out just ideas with other players, right? Well, except for maybe Dan, he just crushes people, but you know,
Well, no,
goes in there with his shadowy knives and you didn't learn anything.
The quiet echo in the dark. Get
Yeah.
good, get good, get
Can't
good.
see me.
Awesome. I have a prediction. And it's what I've learned that G-Dub's been doing for 40K. They talk about basically this year they're gonna do the core release of all the stuff. So you have your Trader Legion book, your Loyalist Legion book, your rule book, and then the faction with everything else in it. You know, militia, Solar Ox, demons, custodies, all that stuff.
Yep.
And then talk about actually bringing out specific Legion books next year, be it monthly or bi-monthly, whatever the case may be. I think this is where you're gonna see, just like 40K. Here's pretty much like the indexes have come out, and now hey, it's January, so it's gonna be World Eaters, and you'll see probably specific World Eater units added to their already like their actual rules, and you'll see other reactions added as well, where if you don't want to buy it, that's fine. You don't have to play with the extra new stuff. You can still play with whatever you've got. But I think that's how they're going to keep evolving the game. As you know, 40K has been doing it, and they've been doing a fairly good job of continuously like advancing, right? And I know some people get a little salty, like, you know, I dropped $65 on a codex, and 2 weeks later they came out with Book of Rust, and all my Dark Eldar rules are in there, and there's a bunch of bonuses they get, and people get a little bit pissed off about that. But for the most part, I like that they keep evolving, they keep advancing the game, and yeah, you're gonna pay for it. Like, they'll bleed you for it, but at least we're getting the support that like we deserve. I think as Heresy players, we've been doing it for so long and playing for so long. Like, I'm fine with spending some cash if we're gonna get constant updates. And for real, like, they've probably put more into Heresy in the last 6 months than we've seen in like the last almost 3 years. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't I kind of in the fence between or on the fence between both opinions. I think I'll buy supplements all day. I'm a dirty shill. But I do agree with Dan that interactions in the enemy's phase makes it difficult to strategize, and makes it convoluted to play sometimes. And I don't say that like, you know, obviously like we get to a point with 30K where we've been playing it since, you know, I was, as a group, I think collectively we've been playing it together for 10 years. Some of us a lot longer, and I know all the rules inside out, and it makes it pretty easy. I think you got to get to that level of comfort with the new reactions, and it's going to take a long time to get to that level. You're not just learning one rule set; you're learning all the rule sets plus the potentials in those rules as you're playing. It just like 40K right now. You look at the 40K rule set in 9th Age with all you know, outside of the supplements and everything else that's going on, and you get to this point where you're like, you can't really like theory craft even some cases or math hammer cases because there's almost infinite options in any scenario, and so you're kind of just it does force you to build the list you want to play with rather than building for the meta, which I think is positive. But it does make the rule set a lot harder to pick up and digest for newer players. So it's kind of like there's pros and cons.
I can definitely see
For sure.
that point. What better reason though to have, you know, that proposed like slow grow escalation league starting off with the community, right? Get everybody on board and playing, and just, you know, learning all the rules together, fumbling through. You know, one thing I always have enjoyed a lot when we play, like with our group specifically, is the after game talks. After we've played, after we've decimated each other, you know, we're talking about what could we have done differently, unit interactions, you know, what we could have changed. It's nice to continuously, you know, talk about the game and get better as a player because of that. I think it's been extremely beneficial, like playing Heresy all these years. I know basically every time we play, yeah, just chatting about what happened, what went right, what went wrong, what would have been better. It's nice to be able to go through that stuff.
I think too with you know, with them putting all this extra stuff into the game and changing it up and shaking it up a little bit, it might make it a lot more enticing to players from the 40K
You're
realm
talking
as well, right?
the Heresy curious people.
So, you know, even outside of GW, but like other players, like I've had when they dropped the trailer for the, you know, Heresy, right? I had a couple guys from the Bolt Action crew watching the video as well, and they're like, "I'm in," right? So, who knows? Change up the rules, shake it up, make it where everybody's kind of learning it again, right? All at that same level, and everybody can learn together for sure. I mean, it's going to take some people longer than others, of course, but I guarantee you, people are going to be playing the shit out of Heresy once it all drops. And then having people come over from cross-platform, pretty much, you know, other games to start playing it, because there's all these new plastic kits coming out, and the rules are available to you like instantly, kind of thing, you know, from GW instead of getting it from Forge World and stuff like that, and just being able to play it like with plastic kits, you know, that the core sets and stuff like that. And there was a little tidbit I actually mentioned to Bill earlier off air here that I kind of just noticed. Let me just find it here. But it mentioned, oh yeah. So core and expanded army list profiles. I don't know if anybody read that or not, but pretty much they're talking about you know, units that are core will be in the books and stuff, but then they'll have like supplementary PDF downloads and stuff from GW, you know, White Dwarf magazine, all that kind of stuff. But they go on to talk about that as new units and models are released, their army list profiles will clearly state if they're core expanded units, and future publications may shift the category of a given unit with any such changes clearly noted in the unit's army list profile. So I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking your core units are probably going to be all these plastic kits that they're coming out with and stuff, right? And some of this expanded stuff, I think, are probably just new stuff that they came out with, just like they've been coming out with the last few months. With all these new different units. But it's interesting that they put that in there, because it's like in these lists that we've seen here already, or these pages, like there's some units that are missing, right? The Lightning, for example, it's not there.
Yes,
So
it's not
yeah.
there. I've heard it's there, but I haven't seen it in the book.
Well,
It's
there's
expanded.
like, if you go on each page, it literally says playtest, like blasted across
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
corner to corner. I was gonna make a comment about, you were saying that it could bring players over, and I think there's a big thing that GW screwed up on if they keep weapon skill and ballistic skill the same in this book. Because currently in the book, you know, they do the old seventh weapon skill. Sorry, I'm just going on a little tangent, because this is and it literally, you have to work off some chart, while
Reach,
every
brother.
other GW game, 40K, Titanicus, I was gonna say fantasy,
AOS.
AOS, they all just tell you what to hit on.
Yeah.
And I think they're missing out on a big thing that they should be switching over to.
I 100% agree. It was kind of a backwards move to use the 7th ed's weapon skill, ballistic skill rule set when clearly the 9th AOS 2nd Necromunda Titanicus rule sets, everyone's now on the same idea of just here's the dice roll you need rather than figure it out. Now granted, like to this point we do the math automatically, but for a new player to pick it up, it is kind of a bizarro rule set given the rest of the genres of that they've developed a rule set for.
Oh, that's true for sure.
Because sorry, Andy. I was just gonna say it was funny because I was making this big rant. I was like, "Oh, vehicles all moved to ballistic skill 4. They're all hitting on 4s now. Like, what the hell?" And then they're like, I think Bill was just like, "Are you sure they're not hitting on 3s?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Like, Dan totally forgot the old rules since playing all these new games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've changed
It's true.
for sure.
It's true. It's a big. That's a good point. That's a really good point. It's funny you say that because, like, for me, like, ballistic skill 4, I automatically know it's a 3, right? Just from playing for so many years with that system.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to play, like, I go play some 40k, and it's like, what does this thing hit on again? I gotta go check it. Like, I gotta go take a look at it. Like, I have no idea. Is it a 4? Is it a 3? I have no idea. But ballistic skill 4, yeah, okay. Ballistic 5, okay, yeah, instant, right? So I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know if it almost seems like, and I know you guys have mentioned this before, that you've seen a whole bunch of rules that are coming into it that you see that are in 9th, right? I wonder if they're slowly moving people from Heresy from, because this is a hybrid system now. It totally, I mean, it looks like it to me, right? But I wonder if they're just gradually going to start shifting it over, okay, here's this version of Heresy, and then a year later, boom, right? Here's another new version of it. This is what's changed. It's going into closer to 9th,
Well, and I think Fordril and GW know the audience. 40k players, I think as a whole, are generally stubborn and tend to be elitist in a sense that things have to be a certain way and you have to do them this way or that way, and this is how the game's always been played. And I think so. The game hasn't changed in 10 years. And I think that you're going to see a lot of people throwing tantrums, just even with these tweaks. And
probably.
Oh, you'll see a lot.
And I think they probably knew that instead of just jumping straight to 9th, like they could have. Like half the Legion rules exist in 9th in chapters. Ultramarines, Blood Angels, they all have their own Legion chapter book. Yeah. So they could have just easily done it in Heresy, and I think they just didn't want to upset the crowd and have half the people. If they're trying to reboot this, they just didn't want to have half the people leave because they flip-flopped it to 9th. And I think a lot of times you might see Heresy players that don't want to play 9th, and that's why they play Heresy.
Well, it's an ongoing conversation on many pages about don't want to play 9th, don't want this. They want a new game without a new game. They want new, fresh, exciting things without changing what the game is. It doesn't work, right?
Just don't burn your armies, boys. $50, we'll take it.
It's just, it's.
I was just hoping for a Custodes nerf, and here I got a whole new edition.
It's just, there's going to be a lot of big changes. I think this is very much kind of a slowly ease into things approach from GW. Mentioning how we've been getting some of the new units in the past here with the Thursday Heresy articles, Warhammer community articles. Is it just me, or does it feel kind of like a Mournival Events rewrite?
Oh, for sure.
Like they're taking stuff from them and they're like,
There's
"Hey, cool man," and you see like they keep just like adding stuff, and I'm like, that's from Mortal events, right? Like even a lot of the Legion specific like rounds for Iron Warriors, for instance, they have like Olympian bolters.
Oh, the shrapnel bolts
Yeah,
for everything.
everything's
Yeah.
got shrapnel and shred, and it's free. It's an 18-inch bolter now, max range, and I was like, that's still pretty sweet. In Mournival events, I pay 5 points for anything Legion Astartes, and they also get shrapnel pinning bolts, just no shred. So GW kind of took it, threw a little bit of extra sugar on it, and here we go, right? Like it's just even Wordbearers had a similar upgrade to the Mournival events one. So I'm just wondering if they're just trying to phase them out or trying to just take inspiration from where they can, because like the stuff is well done. Like the rules are really good. The
they're
Legion
gonna
stuff
take
is
it, right?
legit, right? Well, it's theirs essentially. So it's cool.
They're like, aliens. That's cool. You know what? We're gonna go on Tyranids. Done.
Well, I don't think they're trying to be malicious towards
No.
Mournival,
No.
but I think what they're doing, honestly, I think is what they're starting to do is listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And be like, oh, we don't have to make a crazy looking cool unit. All we have to do is stamp a name on it and then say this is what it does.
Yeah.
Because you get is the Sun Killers or whatever?
Yeah.
Like it's literally just a heavy support squad, but all they did is just threw a little spice on it, and you probably made half the Emperor's Children community go, oh, now it's legit. I don't have to play Mournival because you did it for us, right?
They've all been sitting on converted squads for the last 10 years waiting for the chance, and now that it's there.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, right? Is it allows people to go out and do those conversions now too, and be able to actually use them. So
especially with
just so
those brand new MK6 boxes.
Just so we're clear, no Emperor's Children player has been sitting on 10 Last Cannon Marines.
10,
Just
20, bro.
No.
20.
maybe some Iron Warriors.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah. If you've been, my fellow Iron Warrior players, gather close real quick. If you're sitting on Iron Havoc squads, RIP, man. They're gone. They're gone. They're now heavy support squads. They're gone from the initial shit that I've seen.
Well, we only saw a transcript from the first draft.
Yeah, playtest phase 1, but
we haven't seen any trader like legit looking books or leaks yet. So who knows like what they did. I'm curious. So it was like destroyer squads that they've been bringing out like every month.
Yeah.
So you think they'll be in the book, or do you think they'll just be campaign books like the ones that GW is doing right now?
I think they'll be
the war zones.
I think they'll probably be included, but new shit will be in those Warzone books.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so what I'm guessing is in the Legion books right now, I think they're literally just gonna have the legions the models that exist, or the units that existed like right now. And then I think those special units, like the Sun Killers and the special destroyer units, I think those will all just be part of a PDF or a supplement or whatever, and I think they'll just be in a campaign thing, and it might just be those things where you'll have to ask to use them. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but where it's just like, oh, you can only use it for this campaign or that campaign or whatever. But I don't know.
I think they'll be accessible for regular play. Like, I mean, they did mention in this write-up that there will be PDFs and stuff that will be for these units. So it's an easy way for them to be like, let's do a write-up on some new whatever, right? Raven Guard unit, right? And we'll throw it into this campaign with some other Legion, and bada bing, bada boom, now you got 2 new units. Put it out.
Yeah.
Right? You can buy it online, or you can get it PDF for just how they've been releasing it, how it is right now. And it's a big influx of new units using like you said, using the existing miniature range. And then of course people can do conversions and stuff, right? As long as they don't go back to, releasing rules for units that they have absolutely no minis for.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
They won't.
Okay.
They won't do that.
Right. I'm gonna. So this was what either concerns me or excites me about this, is that if that's the case, in the first ed rules leak that or the first revision rules leak that we saw for EC, there is a Lucius the Eternal rules stat profile.
Hey, he doesn't have a model.
He doesn't
Sorry.
have a model, and
Oh, it's coming.
that makes me think he's getting a plastic model,
Yeah.
or to your point, Andy, is that they're just releasing this stuff and expecting the player base to pick it up, make the conversions, do the models.
It could be, but they also could be releasing these starter armies, plastic kits, with these characters in those plastic kits, in those starters.
Drive
right?
sales, yeah.
Could do that. Yeah. Or they could do just the Fafnir Ran
And there's that
release
too, right?
right? Just throw them in a box.
Oh yeah, they just character series
Yeah.
stuff. Just
Modest-
do a limited series.
Yeah.
it's
Modestly
funny 'cause I
priced,
think-
bro, at $35, which was legit.
It's funny because I think we had a podcast where I was saying that GW just needs to start making all these other characters from the Heresy universe. And you're starting to slowly see them do that, bringing out, plastic kits or these other resin kits or whatever, right? Of just other characters,
So Bill said that they're listening, but I reread the Haywire rules today, and someone is clearly not informed them.
Fuck.
They didn't
Someone-
change it at all.
They didn't touch
Copy and
Haywire
paste
at
it.
all. which
no,
is just
it got better. It got better. It auto wounds
Someone-
on a 2 to 5 now.
Oh.
So before
someone
it was like a
deleted-
strength 5 hit. Now it's an auto wound on a 2 to 5 roll. They got better. Not only is it good against vehicles, it's good against infantry too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's Haywire. Vehicle suffers a glancing hit. All other models suffer 1 wound. Only invulnerable saves or damage mitigation rolls may be taken against wounds inflicted by this result. That's crazy.
So I'm
But
just
are they talking about dreadnoughts though? Because dreadnoughts have wounds now.
well,
So-
that could be just be other models too, though, right? Like,
So they didn't change it. They
oh,
Like
maybe
Alex
you're
was saying,
right.
made-
Actually, Dan, sorry to interrupt you, Andy. When this weapon with the special rule hits a model with the vehicle, dreadnought, or automata unit type, roll a d6 to determine the effect rather than rolling to wound for armor penetration normally. And then it has that d6 table we just talked about.
So Automata got better against Automata. So
yeah.
it's better against Alex's Mechanicum then.
yeah.
Ooh, and like the 6 now, the 6 now doesn't allow any saves. No
Yeah.
saves or damage mitigation roll may be taken against wounds inflicted by this result. So a 6 is just an auto wound.
It's like mortal wounds, yeah.
Fuck.
It's like mortal
So
wounds
everyone's gonna
without
take
being mortal.
hoplites against Alex.
Are you
so hoplites hop. I mean, currently hoplites are the big unit that has the majority of those weapons, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen the rule here. Obviously, it's way better, and there's probably not too many units that have equipment for it, except for hoplites.
Iron
Hands,
Hands with
That's
shredders
true.
with assault 2, Haywire.
Yeah. Pop one up in
Okay.
your ass with drills.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. I'm just
Turn.
questioning. I'm just questioning. Maybe they changed the rule slightly, but they're going to be changing the units that have the
Yeah.
majority of that weaponry. Maybe they don't have as much of it, but
I'd be okay.
if the Iron Hands already has something that they didn't have before. I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? Like maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe hoplites got better.
so like, mathematically I don't think that changed too much because like you popped up, 10 hoplites hop out of a drill, or a poor dreadnought walks up to them. 10 dice, they're hitting on 2s, and on a 2 to 5 they're doing a glancing hit. So like 9 typically or 8 are going through. You're killing a dreadnought, even if the dreadnought makes 1 or 2 5-ups. Doesn't matter. You're still doing enough, even with their wounds profile based on this with invulnerable saves. It does the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's gnarly, that's for sure.
And it's actually, to be honest, it is to put on my Mechanicum robe and tentacles for a second. It is. It is. I think it's going to be pretty good for the faction as a whole, because the faction doesn't have a whole lot of strength 9, 10. So if they really nerf this in the ground, it'd be real difficult for Mechanicum to deal with, high armor value targets.
Don't they have Venators and
Yeah.
things that make everything lance?
Yeah, I gotta take 3 tanks to get access to 3 last cannon profiles, and I'm only allowed 3 heavy slots.
I wonder what the stats on knights are going to be.
Well, Destroyer Stomp's gone.
Yeah.
And like,
That's a good
like
change.
not gone, like gone, like totally different. I was just reading that. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, it's what it should have been before. It's I believe, if I recall correctly, it's strength 10 now.
Strength 10 AP1.
Yeah, which is fine. Like I'm fine with strength 10 AP1 all day, no problem.
And it does D3 wounds.
Yeah.
Or D3 penetrating hits if you pen with it.
So, like that's always much easier to deal with versus Destroyer. Go back to when Magnus was running around with D Novas and D everything else, and you're like, oh god,
Mind blast and
yeah,
everything?
crazy.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed
Don't
it.
remind me.
They nerfed it, and it's like, oh, it's strength 10. You're like, that ain't shit now. Like, you can do whatever you want now, buddy. Like, I don't care, right? Like,
Get fucked, Magnus.
yeah,
You're strength 10 AP1 out of here.
Magnus got
yeah, that's
nerfed.
cool. Eternal Warrior, like, just it doesn't matter. So it's interesting to see how things are gonna be changing, because I know that was one of the big issues with knights and whatnot specifically is this D stomp. Just it
Well, yeah, you'd
just
walk up
crushes
with
everything.
with a Primarch with full wounds that should just beat it up,
Yeah.
and you get to the last initiative 1, and he stomps and rolls a 6, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I'll just take half my fucking units away. Sorry to swear, but yeah. Take my units away and my Primarch that costed more than that knight did.
Well, that's just it, right? Here's Angron in the books who can hold up a Warhound foot, but a knight just stomped him for D6 plus 6 wounds, bro. Outrageous, right? Like, I'm glad that's changed.
No, it's just removed. It was just removed.
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't even a destroyer. It was just, if you rolled a
Just
6,
removed from play.
whatever's underneath that template's just gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, son. Sanguinius never existed.
Because a lowly knight just stomped him to death.
It's just, there's some really good changes coming. Psychic phase looks a little bit gutted. Like,
just a little bit.
Well,
like
there's like 3
anemic.
No batteries anymore.
No,
Yeah.
there's only 3 like spells per core psychic discipline, which again leads me to think that when these specific books are going to be dropping, that they'll have their own stuff, right? Like, here's all the core different stuff. Oh, here, look, Thousand Suns, cool. Now you get your dirty, psychic phase powers, and then it's like, oh, Space Wolf's cool. Here's your non-psyker ritualistic shit, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
and
good.
this is all coming from 40K when all the supplements were coming out, because as they were coming out, it was like, oh, the Raven Guard are out. Oh, all their powers are like help them with
Stealthy,
cover saves and like do these sneaky little wounds that or Salamanders is all flame attacks and stuff like that. And I guess we're gonna probably see more of that if and when supplements come out.
I suspect so, and I'm for it.
So there's like we're saying, there's a lot of little different changes and whatnot, and I was just scrolling down, like looking at the demon rules here. Again, another thing that kind of, they already have it in the current rule set, where like the demon's toughness and strength change depending on like the turn it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they have it here, and their first 2 turns they're getting a bonus of +1. Turn 3 goes to 0, and then 4 -1, and then 5 and 6 -2. On -1 on 5 and 6, and then -2 on turn 7. And then they have a whole bunch of other stuff here, which is just kind of fear stuff and like morale stuff. Very similar to what they already had, but this little aspect of it where your toughness is changing all the time and stuff, I think that will probably slow down the game with some stuff, because there'll probably be a lot of players forgetting about it.
That already happened though. That's already part of the
So
demon
it
rules.
is. Yeah.
No, I know that, but it's specifically in here now, like in here, just in the general rules of like demon type, right? I don't know if that would take effect if you took them as allies, like in a word bearer army right now. Do you know about that, Alex?
Sorry, what?
Currently, right now, like if being a word bearer player, you were to take demons, does that still happen to them? Where their toughness gets weaker and stronger, or whatever? You know?
I actually don't know. I don't think so, because the etheric buff that they get is from the Demons of the Ruinstorm book, which only applies to the Demons of the Ruinstorm units, whereas the summoned units weren't. Well, but they would technically they would use the new book.
They would get the
So
rule, yeah.
I would think they would get the rule, yeah.
So yeah,
So what I'm saying is, though, like, because the word bearers have units that get turned into demons, right? Like currently, right now.
Yeah, in the current rule set.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if that stays the same, kind of that would affect them now, considering this is
you're
generic rule now, right?
are you asking if Gore Velback will get worse as the game continues?
Yeah, like that's kind of the idea of it.
So that like turn 4 or 5, they're at -1 toughness and strength.
I don't think it would like affect the Gelborback, only because they're not essentially like demons on their own who are losing their
It
grip
depends if
with
they have this
reality.
the type.
They're
So
possessed in Astartes.
But you're going in the fluff though. But we're talking about keywords.
Listen,
though.
this is all fluff, bro.
Yeah, because it goes as with other unit types. The demon type includes a number of subtypes, which may be referenced in other Age of Darkness books.
In the leaked in the Rev 1 word bearers rules, Galvorback don't have the demon keyword.
Okay.
And I think what they have is they have a special rule called demonic or something like that, where they get the buff that gives them +1 strength, but there's no degrading profile.
But
so this will be mainly for actual demons, then, probably.
Yeah, just for pure strain.
So if we're going off fluff though, the Gore Velback, they're not always in demon form. They're like werewolves. So they would get worse as the combat went on, because they sleep inside and then they come out during combat because they turn back into humans. So they would get worse. So maybe they should add that, Bill. They should get worse as the.
I'd rather they didn't.
he just needs a nappy nap. It's okay.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
them being T5 with 3 wounds now. Okay, they can stay like that.
Is it strength 5 too now too?
It is
T5
strength 5, yeah.
3 wounds. Yeah.
Do they got Murderous Strike for some? Because everything's got Murderous Strike now.
No, they don't have that, but they have access to some other good stuff.
So, what about a segue here into some of the Legion profiles?
Can dig it. I can dig it.
Do you want to go first, Bill? Because you're right there.
I could.
Doing stuff, reading things.
Reading stuff. One of the nice things I stumbled upon was, this is from Phase 1 shit though, but anyways, the Iron Circle got dramatically better from the reading that I've seen so far. Basically, they have a movement of 8, their strength 7, T7, they have 5 wounds. They have a sweet 3 attacks, which is all around better than what they were before. The nice thing is they still have a 3 up. They still have their 5 up invulnerable. The shield still works the same. Their hammers are just as nasty as they have been in the past. It was nice to see, and they went down to 150 points versus 205, which I'll run 6 all the time now. I used to run 4 when I actually did run them, and now that they're cheaper, I'll run 6. And basically pay a little extra to have 33% more killing power.
What's funny is they made Automata easier to kill with grav guns and meltas, because meltas now let you reroll wounds against automatas.
Yeah, but
not to cut you off, but yeah,
that's why Purdy leads the pack, bro. So he can tank that shit with his 2-up, 3-up. So, which has been nice. It's been nice to see Primarchs in general kind of get a nice treatment where majority have 2-up, 4-up, and there's a few shining examples that have a 3+ invulnerable save. So that part's nice.
Have they changed anything about Perturabo that you noticed?
The logos, some of his stuff is a little bit different. There's a few things, but I won't go into too much of the details. One, because I don't have the trader doc right in front of my eyeballs, but just to make sure, like he does change a little bit differently. Although I do remember reading that. So Iron Warriors, they lost their immune to morale via the shooting phase. But if you take Perturabo in your army, they gain basically the True Believer trait like Word Bearers had, where you roll 3d6 and take away the highest dice for all your morale and leadership tests. Which I think that makes it really cool and fluffy, just because as long as Purdy's around, you know, they don't want to fail. They might have flashbacks of decimation, so
it's only iron within when Daddy's around.
Well, it's especially iron within when Daddy's around, right? Like it's pretty good. Like a lot of the there's been a lot of changes with the rights of war, and just with some of the Legion rules. Tyrants obviously went up a little bit in points by like 5 points. But they ended up gaining like a Skyfire missile set as well, and
2 wounds.
Extra wounds, which awesome. They got their, they have their regular crack missile cyclones, but the Skyfire makes them really, really good. I think Tyrants will be a big presence on the board. Not like they weren't already. Like every Iron Warrior guy had 10, or you would use 5 to 8, right? Because sometimes bringing 10, you didn't want to be that guy. But yeah, I think you'll see them prevalent again.
Well, I got the PDF open. Because their actual like Legio rule changed from the morale, and now what it is they get +1 to their strength when hitting against dreadnoughts, automata, vehicles, and buildings.
Yeah.
So those missiles are now strength 9 when hitting vehicles,
which is fluffy as hell. So they're just meant to crush defensive lines, man. Looking forward
Dan, what about you?
Well, I mean, the Iron Hands actually didn't change all that much. They can actually run now without taking a morale test or a leadership test. But I mean, I think overall the Iron Hands got better for me. They get, like we talked about the Grav Shredders, which are Assault 2. They're only 12-inch range, but you're putting them in a drill anyways. And basically becoming Space Marine hoplites. Ferrus Manus didn't change actually at all. The only thing I think that changed on him was he can't play without the hammer. He just always has the hammer. I don't know. Iron Hands didn't change all that much. Oh, the only thing, it's not Iron Hand specific, but it's what I played. Armor Breakthrough disappeared, and it turned into that other tank one, and it makes me sad because now Predators can't become troops. Or sorry, Predators are troops, but they're not fast anymore. I also, Raven Guard is another Legion that I've been playing with, and the big winner for them is the Dark Furies getting 2 wounds, and they get like 2 extra attacks on top of their 2 to 3 attacks. So they're getting 5 attacks on the charge. They also can have 3 sergeants for whatever reason.
In one squad?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It says you can a Dark Fury squad can include 9 Fury. Oh, if a squad has 9 Furies, you may upgrade 2 of these to become Chosen of the Slain. So you can have 3 sergeants in there. They got Precision Strike. I don't know what Sudden Strike is. I didn't go through every USR. I'm guessing that's +1 initiative on the charge. I don't know if anyone knows what Sudden Strike
I'll
is.
take a peek.
Sudden strike.
Yeah.
Keep going. Go back to you in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean for them that's kind of what I was excited for. And Korak's got a 4+ invuln all the time. He kind of lost the I'm invisible, don't stare at me kind of thing.
You can't see.
So yeah, you can't see me. So he lost that, but he basically became Conrad in the fact that he's got like shrouded all the time and he's got a hit and run now. And on the Raven Guard page, they're a little confused by because it says he gets 3 stances in combat, but 2 of them are when he charges. So I don't know if there's a little bit of a mix up there because one's rage and one's sudden strike. But he's already initiative 7, so he's probably going before anyone anyways.
I think that's a unit specific because it's not in the USRs.
Yeah, it's not. I was just about to say.
No?
No.
Oh.
It's probably like data slate entry only.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Overall, like I'm kind of happy in because like I said before, Horus Heresy players could be stubborn and they don't like change. So I mean, like my first Legion was Iron Hand, so I'm kind of happy that they didn't change all that much because they weren't always in the middle. They weren't super good, but they weren't super bad. So I'm actually pretty happy that they're still because they still get the -1 strength, or sorry, they still have the -1 strength to shooting if they get shot at. But I mean, like, it's just Gorgon's got 2 wounds, which is nice. They should have just got rid of Gorgons, even if they had a model. They should have just went with the actual Iron Hands Terminators. But I don't know. I guess you can jump in there, Alex. You've been going on and on about these wardens.
Let's ruffle some pages here.
Get ready.
So maybe it's just because I was so starved for rules for so long. But I got access to the first revision trader rules, and I read through them all again, and fell in love with the Emperor's Children rules. I think they're so much better, so much more fluffy now. I am like across the board, there were some big buffs to some of the trader legions. I think most trader players will be excited. A lot of the more I guess maybe first and second book armies, even some of the third and fourth book armies that were maybe a little neglected over the last couple of years. Night Lords, Emperor's Children, even World Eaters to an extent, got real fluffy rule changes that really support I think those armies and the qualities that I think players that play those armies really like. But Emperor's Children, where do I start? Phoenix Wardens or Phoenix Warden is a special upgrade to champion console that you get. Basically turns them into a very specific warden, gives them access to all of the Phoenix Terminator rules. Phoenix Terminator rules, the big ones are that they have kind of a stance that you get to pick in combat, which allows you to either be extremely defensive or extremely offensive. And the defensive is they basically get I guess it'd be 6th edition or 7th edition invisibility, so you can only hit them on 6s in close combat across the board. They can't change it or alter it. And then I guess it doesn't work against Like it doesn't work. Might not work against fearless units or Primarchs. It might there's a certain specific entry as a Primarch ignore it, but and the other one is offensive, where all of their attacks are considered at AP 1 but struck at an ish 1. So it gives you like a wicked fluffy. You know, they're supposed to be extremely good in close combat. For the last 10 years, they were garbage. now they actually get like solid buff to their close combat ability, which is fantastic.
What initiative are they?
5.
Yeah.
Nasty.
And weapon skill 5 too.
And they're 2 wounds now?
2 wounds now, yeah.
The Terminators, yeah.
That's awesome.
Some of the other stuff, like more on the general rules. You get access to surgical augmentations now. That gives you 3 options for it's on it. I think it's 25 points per unit is the rule, or 15 to 20 points per character. But like Sonic Shriekers are just -1 to hit in close combat, similar to the -1 weapon skill they had before. Subsonic Pulsers is a new one that ignores the penalties to leadership and ballistic skill imposed by night fighting. And the new night fighting rules are when night fighting is in effect, you're -1 leadership and max range of 24 on all weapons. You just get to ignore that.
And -1 to ballistic skill too.
Yeah. And then Sonic Lance just gives them a strength 2 flamer with rending 6 and pinning. So
Awesome.
and you can put that on anything that you can put surgical augmentations on. So like Palatine Blades, Phoenix Terminators, characters. So like 10 Palatine Blades, all with basically flamer templates that have 6 up rending for 25 points for the whole unit.
That's awesome.
So, sorry, Sonic Shriekers still suffer from like the fear thing?
Yeah,
so,
fearless ignored it. You ignored it if you're fearless.
So do you think people might not choose those ones, and they probably would choose the other 2 more often? You think?
I have a hard time choosing a situation for 25 points where -1 to hit in close combat is not awesome.
Well, if you're playing a lot of fearless units, then it's useless.
I don't see, like, going through even the loyalist stuff here. I don't see a lot of fearless units anymore, though.
Not many of them.
It's a lot of stubborn. Don't get me wrong, but very few fearless.
It's true. Chaplains don't even give fearless anymore.
Yeah, like I think, and then the change to fear in general, across the board, I think is going to lead to like morale. Like Night Lords having so many fear alteration rules that like you're probably not going to fight Night Lords. You're probably going to run from them most of the time in close combat, unless you're either stubborn or fearless.
Yeah, because fear now doesn't cause you to fight at weapon skill 1. It causes a negative to your morale. So, but yeah, continue, Alex.
It can stack. So like, like Night Haunter has like neg I think 2 base. It goes up to -4 or something like that. But most units having leadership 8, trying to pass a 2d6 roll of 4 or under is real tough.
Take those Vexillas.
Yeah. But there's just general, like across the board, like Phoenix Terminators went down from 265 to 200 points for 5.
Ooh. Plus
all their upgrades. They get access to Phoenix Spears, surgical augmentations, the skill unmatched rule, which is the 6 to hit or AP1 hits. They got +1 movement and stubborn, additional to their units, which is fantastic. Palatine Blades went up 125, or sorry, went up 20 points overall. But they got Artificer Armor Base, Counterattack, Skill Unmatched, which is the same rule as above, Chosen Warriors, which allows them to take and accept challenges for any model in the unit, +1 movement, like most stuff, to movement 7, access to surgical augmentations, like just across the board, better. Their weapons got cheaper if you want to take Power Spears on all of them. They went from like 10 points down to 5 points per model. Yeah, just awesome.
So, not to cut you off again. So they start with charnable weapons.
Correct.
And there's actually 3 profiles for them now. I was going through the weapons a little while ago. So there's like a spear. There's a
rapier,
a sword. Yeah, a sword and like a mace or something. I can't remember. It was just an axe. Or so I can't remember, but now you can go load them out with different profiles if you want to just use their base weapon.
That's pretty sweet. Interesting.
Sorry, continue.
No, okay, it's like across the board, just great. Super
Nice.
excited. Oh, and Lucius, all the rules for Lucius. Oh God.
Yeah.
Lucius is weapon skill 7, initiative 6, 4 attacks, 2 up, 4++. He's got preferred enemy characters, stubborn, supreme duelist, which means he gets +1 attack if his opponent has a higher initiative. Precision strike on a 3 up. His weapon is called 19. Strength user, rending 3 up, duelist Aegis, murderous strike 6 up, and master crafted and duelist Aegis. He gains +1 weapon skill if he is in a challenge. So he's weapon skill 8 in a challenge with 4 attacks base, and he has 2 weapons, so he's 5 attacks. If he charges, that's 6 attacks at initiative 6. If he's Emperor's Children or he charges, he gets a +1. Oh, Jesus Christ! So his weapon skill 8, initiative 7, 6 attacks on the charge. Like, get fucked. Sorry, it's just really good. Like he could stall a
There's
Primarch.
gonna be loyalist listeners just like, shit, man. What do I get? Right? Like,
Sell Tarvits.
that's
Yeah.
that's right.
Uh,
Oh man. Oh god. That's
No, it's pretty good.
yeah. No, it sounds like they've
Pretty big boost for them.
Yeah, it sounds like some pretty awesome bonuses. I will admit, I know we're wrapping up a little bit here. Things that bug me about seeing this stuff. Ambush deployment zone is still in there. That deployment zone it's just silly. I don't know why they have it. And the missions didn't change. No new missions. Like some of the wording has changed, but they still got the same 6 classic shit. Blood Feud, they've cleaned up some of the writing in there, which is nice. But yeah, they still got the same 6 missions for name. There is a little bit slightly changes on all the scoring stuff, but I don't know. It would have been cool to see him step outside of the box and come up with some new stuff. Get rid of that ambush deployment because trash. But yeah, yeah.
Did you read the flanking assault rules? That's new.
No, I did not.
yeah, you have a token, you put it on whatever board edge you want, and then you come in from that, and then everyone comes in all
Oh, that's nice.
at once.
That's pretty sweet.
Deep strike's like that too. They changed deep striking, so you have one model that rolls, and then he comes on, and then everything else just comes on with him, and it's usually he's within a circle of the first guy.
Hmm.
So there's a whole bunch of changes. I mean, we could talk forever
Yeah.
about this.
There's tons.
So maybe Bill. So you got a few gripes. What are your 3 big gripes and 3 positives?
Overall, I guess in terms of gripes, the no new actual missions would be my first one. My second gripe would be not changing Haywire because it's silly, and my third gripe would be my third gripe would be keeping the blast templates and like just keeping the 7th edition version of like the hit chart and blast templates. Like, I don't know, I like playing without them. It goes a lot faster. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything when I don't get them, right? Like, it's just, those are my gripes for that. Positives though, psychic phase toned down a lot. So, you know, people looking to just kind of win the game on psychic alone, doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore, which is good. That's a positive change. Overall, the assault, it definitely feels like it's going to be an assault edition instead of a shooting edition. The rules to assaults have been a really nice change to see, which basically you get extra extra inches to your assault based on your movement, which is pretty legit. And then my third positive would be just the overall changes so far, I guess. I feel like the change is positive just in the fact that they are updating the book. It is a little bit of an ad hoc kind of version between 7th and 9th. They call it, 2.0. But it's a step in the right direction. It's going to make for some good positive gameplay, I think. So,
Andy, 3 and 3.
Oh. Well, negative, I guess, would be they've took out some of the units from some of the legions that they previously had in the books, but they never had any models for. That's kind of a bit of a gripe for me, because it's like, well, you've been waiting so long for this stuff, and then now it's just gone, right? Like the Ultramarines lost 2 units. The Fulman Terrace and the Luck Terrace assault squad. They're not there. So that's one thing. Other gripes for the game itself. There might be some phases that might get a little bit more complex, like they mentioned earlier, with the additional rules. It's kind of a good and bad thing for me, just from the fact that you can be more interactive in the game with your opponent and whatnot throughout different phases, but at the same time, it's going to probably, make some confusing moments for a lot of players, just kind of going through the motions, especially with getting used to reactions and whatnot. I'm sure there'll probably be a lot of confusion with it, but it's kind of a minor gripe. I like it and I don't like it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when we start actually playing it. Third, I don't know. I actually kind of was hoping that they would have done something different with the psychic phase, instead of toning it down to where it was. I figured they would have actually shaken it up a bit and maybe changed a lot of the psychic powers, not make them super powerful or anything, but just change them up and clear them up and just change in general, right? So to me, okay, if you played, at the time you played Thousand Suns, sure, you were a powerhouse with psychic powers, but they fixed that up and then it toned everything down for them already. But no other legion really, maybe word bearers used some psychic powers, but I don't think it was too bad. You didn't see it too often unless you were playing against Thousand Suns, right? So it would have been nice to see something different with it, maybe even just different powers, like completely overhaul them, kind of thing. Positive, well, the whole change in general, just that one step in the right direction, slowly, but it's going there. There's a lot of wording that they definitely cleared up, which I like. There's also other things that specifically tell you that this is how many shots this vehicle has. I can't remember the actual rule. I just read it not too long ago here, but it's a rule where it has a bracketed number, and pretty much that rule is this is how many weapons you can fire, right? Instead of trying to figure out, well, how many weapons can I fire from when I moved, this and that kind of thing, right? So there's that. And then I don't know, just overall in general, looking at stats and stuff of units, they've kind of adjusted toughnesses on units. as an example, the quad mortars, they're now toughness 5, right? We all use them to the advantage of using that toughness 7 in previous edition, right? They're hard to take out because they're that high. They're tougher to take out than maybe a dreadnought even. But now they've toned that down. So you kind of see it across the board that they've toned down some stats on like the basic units, which in general, like they get hit by some artillery piece, yeah, they're probably going to get blown up to shreds, right? Not just, oh yeah, we took it. We took a strength 8 hit. You know, we're okay, right? But yeah, overall, I think it's a good path that they're taking. A lot of stuff cleared up, and I can't wait to play it. The other thing that I really liked is they gave Ventanus rending on his power sword. That's about it.
Yeah, maybe he'll kill something in close combat now.
Maybe. So I had to put that one in there. So yeah.
Dan?
A lot of things have been said that I kind of agree with. I mean, as much as I like Blast, complicated when you have like 10 of them or 8 of them and you're like going over, or there was like just rules, or people, you know, like from whatever position you're looking at, oh, I'm hitting 10 guys, and the other guy's like looking from the other across the table
Clearly
going,
7.
no, it looks like you're hitting. Yeah. So I agree that Blast should probably go away. It works in Titanicus because you have one model and you're trying to hit him with a blast. But when you're trying to hit like 20 guys in a crater and you got this template that you're trying to go over top of and you're like, I'm counting, this many guys. So I agree. And them not taking advantage and stepping up and being like, oh yeah, we're going to switch ballistic skill and weapon skill. It's foolish that they wouldn't do that. Another thing that I don't like is it's good and bad. Them adding all these extra reactions and stuff, and then changing profiles on weapons. There's like bayonets, chain bayonets, combat weapons, chain swords. I get it. There's all those different weapons, but when I have 80 Raven Guard all with knives, and I want them with chain swords now because I want the shred, I'm gonna have to break off all those knives now.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes, you are.
that part, that's just because I didn't know what was gonna happen in the future, and that's my fault. But positives, obviously, change is good. It's always good for the better. And I mean, some of my gripes and stuff are just me being scared of change and not knowing how the game's going to play. Because I played this game for 10 plus years. It's always been the same.
Yeah.
And now they're going, well, we're just going to tweak everything. And now I got to relearn everything because I basically could play without the book for the most part, other than a few certain rules I never used. Now I have to actually like relearn it, and that's probably what scares me the most. But it's also good because now they'll actually have to sit down and be like, hey, I'm going to read through this and figure everything out, and then we go through the whole growth process, because we saw it in Titanicus where we all started from the bottom and we were all like fumbling through it, and then we got to a point where we were, like Bill was saying, after the game, helping each other and being like, hey, no, you should do that, or this rule does this. So I mean, that part of it, I really like the community aspect of learning together, and we have a strong community here in Edmonton with the Heresy, and especially between the 4 of us and the rest of the Fever guys or whatever, that we can grow as a community. So I mean, and I don't know, just change is better. I guess that's my positive. I can't pick out a strong thing that I really like, because it might be good for me, but it might be bad for you. So I don't want to. I think just change in general, and and if it brings in those guys, like Andy was saying, there was bolt action guys that were curious about the game, and now they can jump in because there's a new edition, instead of us playing it for 10 years and then new guys coming in and getting kicked like a puppy, you can you can get these new guys coming in and learning with us. So
Exactly.
I don't know. I guess Alex, you got stuff you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I'll try to be concise. My pros are the reaction, I think, creates flavor, forces players to make individual decisions, which I think in the end will create pretty thematic moments for most players. I think it does have the opportunity to have some feel bad moments, but I think overall, I think the good will outweigh the bad. Second would be, the core rule changes. Like after the first read through, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I think I can get this. But like after kind of getting into the weeds on fear, night fighting, you get in the habit of reading plasma weapon rules or like thunderhammer rules or autocannon rules so much that you're just like, oh yeah, it's strength 7, it does this, blah, blah. You actually start reading it now, and then there's rending on a lot of stuff that didn't have rending before. There's murderous strike on melee weapons that didn't have them before, and small things like that are creating or making units a lot more lethal than they may have traditionally been. And it changes kind of the unit profiles just enough that I looked at the whole kind of Legion of Astartes rules and was like, hey, like suddenly a whole lot of these units have playability that they didn't before, which is pretty exciting. It's not like, I know what attack squad does. Well, now attack squad with, varying power weapons or chain blades or, it's just slight addition to or tweaks to the rules makes them slightly more viable in different situations. I think that creates good list building choices. And then third pro was like, honestly, I've read through the rule set, at least the phase 3 rule set for the rules and phase 1 and 2 rule sets for traders and loyalists, and the rule set actually appears to be cleaner. I didn't get through this rule set this time and be like, oh, what the fuck does that, what does that mean? Like I had to reread it a few times. It was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's pretty clear. The language is concise. There's lots of bullet points saying this is exactly how this works.
Mm-hmm.
There's no confusion. There's no expectation that you're supposed to imply anything. I think you could read rules as written across the board here, and for the most part, it's applicable. There's
That's nice.
not a whole lot of gray hair.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that for sure.
I was just gonna, sorry, Alex, but it's kind of adding to your point. I was gonna say brackets. I like that things have brackets now.
Yeah.
So that like breaching or rending, so a rending could be on a 6+ or it can be on a 4+. It's not. This is always what it is. It could be depending on that character, because Primarchs will have like Murderous Strike 4+, but you might go to another weapon that might be Murderous Strike 6+.
Yeah, and I think that allows them to like adjust the rule set as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I don't know, maybe charmable weapons are not lethal enough, then maybe they, we get a revision here that all charmable weapons are rending 5 up from now on, or 4 up, or whatever you can make slight additions to weapon profiles to change, whole units effectiveness in the battlefield without having to like introduce a new unit or drastically adjust their points, like stuff like that. I think anything that allows them to tweak is a good change to the rule set.
That's awesome.
For sure, yeah. And do you have any quick negative ones that you?
The only two that really stand out, I think they were already repeated here, is like the fucking hit table, man. Like just lazy at this point. And the other thing that struck me as lazy is Bill touched on, is the lack of new missions. That just seems like a total miss, and I'm hoping that the final revision, that there is some new missions or some change, like to even name them the same seems like
it was easy mode, man, for real.
Yeah, I just yeah. The other thing too is I was hoping, given all the strength and support behind the ITC and progressive missions, how they've seen real playability in Mournival rule set, how they've kind of taken off in 9th edition. I was actually really honestly truly hoping for like a progressive rule set for missions, allowing point scoring as the turn progresses, and we didn't get that. And that also seems like a real big miss, to see that popularity and not see it transposed. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that point, you never know. They could drop matched play set of something. It's hard to say.
Yeah, or we just force you to rewrite them, and, like we've been doing for the last 6 years.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. It's true.
That's it.
Overall, really good, like exciting things are coming. I think Heresy is going to be in a better place than it is now, and I can honestly say that. I think the game right now is good, but not great, and I think it will become really good. Like it will gain that magic back that we had during like the first 4 years of playing, where after these last like two, it's fun, but it's a slog. You're in for it. It's a little stale. This is gonna freshen it up, and I think overall, yeah, it's gonna be great. So
for myself, like, it's going to bring back the excitement of the game, right? I mean, you can already hear it here. Like, Alex is popping off about Lucius, he's just totally excited over there, right? But with the players,
Hardcore Heresy.
the players coming back into the game, new rule set, it's it's fresh. There's a lot of new things to learn, to try out. It's going to change the way the legions are played. It's going to change the way the game is played. People are going to be really, really excited to start playing again. I know we've kind of put it on the back burner a bit, so it's kind of, to me, it's going to get ramped up real quick. I foresee people totally starting new armies just from what they're seeing, right? There might be some armies shifted around. Your usual armies, like, I'm pretty sure my Ultramarine army is probably going to change compared to what I have already right now. It's going to be nice to play, my White Scars, even though it is a change for them as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But overall, the excitement's going to be there. The player base is going to come, creeping back and get games going again. And just even right now, like the overall stuff that we're seeing and leaks and pictures of minis, and people are just exploding and getting hyped, right? So it's good. It's good. And I hope, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, but they will keep releasing stuff. GW's in control now. They have the reins. They'll probably give it the same effect as 40K, right? Like Bill mentioned earlier, every 6 months or whatever, you get some new books to update stuff and keep stuff fresh. Hey, why not? Right? People might not like it, but they can always go back playing 7th if they want. But
hard pass
with with the new rule set and the new everything else, just it looks bright. Looks good to me.
Nice. Well, that's basically a wrap. Thanks for jumping in the episode. Please definitely hit us up with your comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And we've got more Heresy goodness coming down the pipe. Thanks for watching.
Later.
Bye.
Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it.